Hello, convention fans. Sorry for disappearing for such a while. Life got in the way. But I am back to review another convention, and today's convention will be ConnectiCon. Buckle up, because this is gonna be quite a review. So I would just like to preface this by saying that ConnectiCon is one of the oldest conventions I've been attending. It is the second convention I ever attended back in 2010. And I would just like to take this moment to review the good moments that I've had, and then we will go into how far what a good convention fell to. I started going to ConnectiCon when I was 15. No, I had just turned 16. My friends and I were still in high school, and we went to ConnectiCon. And because we were so young, a big group of us went, and my mom and another mom, because we lived so close to Hartford, like 45 minutes away, we would just pile into the car and then just drive back and forth every day, and it was great. So if those of you who remember, back in those days, ConnectiCon basically allowed lobby conning, because my mom and the other chaperone mom would just sit in the lobby in those comfy chairs right by the escalators and just people watch and just sit. And my friends and I would go, and we'd come back and we'd drop off our stuff and we'd get food, and we would just run off and check in like, hey, we're still alive. And my mom loved it because she had a comfy chair and she knew that my friends and I were safely in the building because we knew where to find her, and she loved it. And if you look at ConnectiCon now, lobby conning, whoa doggy, that is like the big no word at ConnectiCon. So, where to begin? For those of you who've been going to ConnectiCon, and those who probably watch these videos go to ConnectiCon, because if you know me and you watch these videos, you're probably in the local area, because it seems like the New England convention community seems to be just kind of the same people that attend Anime Boston, ConnectiCon, AAC. Those are like the three big cons in New England. I know PortCon, but that's way too far for me, just because I'm Southern Massachusetts, basically. So that's just too far, but I know that that's another big one. But those three ones are the big ones. So ConnectiCon, that's like the medium-sized con. Anime Boston's the big one. AAC is small, but not too small. But ConnectiCon's like a good medium-sized con. And a lot of my friends, when I give my reviews, they say that ConnectiCon is their favorite convention because it's not as big as Anime Boston. It's nice and small, but it's big enough that there's enough space. So then that begs the question, why do we keep going back to ConnectiCon? Is it nostalgia? I certainly have some good memories at ConnectiCon. I have some bittersweet memories at ConnectiCon, but it wasn't until this year and last year that I outright said, I don't want to go to ConnectiCon. And I told my friends, and they just said, but I'm going to ConnectiCon. It's still a good con. I still enjoy it. There's a bug in my window that's bugging me because it sounds like a bee, but it's not. Last year was definitely my last year. Did I review it? I don't remember, but oh well. I probably did. Yes, because my review was scathing. I remember telling Rick. Rick knows that my review was scathing because we discussed it. Because it was CurfewCon. Oh my goodness, CurfewCon. It's still CurfewCon, but worse. The prices went up. If you showed up at the door and wanted to buy a weekend pass, it was $80. Bear in mind that Anime Boston weekend passes, I'm pretty sure, are still $65. If you show up at Anime Boston and register, it's still $65. ConnectiCon, you show up, they want $80. Bear in mind, Anime Boston is open until 2 in the morning, and even then, there's still shit to do after the convention center closes. ConnectiCon, the convention center closes at 9. But they want you to partake in Convival, which is not in the convention center, is in fact out in Hartford, which I am a small white woman. I don't feel safe out in Hartford. I feel safe in the convention center, in the Marriott, going across the bridge because I stay across the river, but there's like police everywhere because the Riverfest is going on, there's security. I feel safe. Going out into Hartford, I am a small white woman. I don't feel safe unless I'm with a large man, which I tend to be at conventions just because I make friends with big men because I am small and I'm cute. But I know for other people that that's just not a viable option to be surrounded by a big man out in Hartford at night. So yeah, ConnectiCon wants you to partake in Convival, which I guess could explain why the price is jacked up, but if you're under the age of 21, that's it. You can't. They want you to go to the bars and do bar things at the bar with drinks and alcohol. I just turned 23. If you saw me Thursday, I was there at ConnectiCon. I was dropping off Michelle. She's a good friend. That was my birthday. I turned 23. But I don't drink. Drinking just doesn't appeal to me. I like to gamble, but the bug is next to my head. But I'm not a big drinker, so the whole idea of, alright, it's 9 o'clock, go drink. Unless you're drinking, go do something else. Just doesn't appeal to me. But also, a large part of that is just Matt Daigle himself. Matthew Daigle is the man who owns ConnectiCon, and he's the one who decides a whole bunch of the stuff, and he is the problem with ConnectiCon. He's ruining his own convention. I don't have much experience with Matthew Daigle myself, but I do see his Facebook posts, and I do see what my friends screenshot him saying. And basically it boils down to Matthew Daigle owns a tabletop gaming shop, and he wants ConnectiCon to be a tabletop gaming convention. Which, that's fine, you know, but make it a tabletop gaming convention just outright. Don't stop promoting it as a multi-genre convention and then push down the multi-genres in favor of the tabletop gaming. A big critique of ConnectiCon in the recent years is it got rid of the informal dance, the not a rave that is totally a rave. It used to be held in the Marriott, and I remember those days of just, the rave would start, so everyone would clear out of the convention center, and that's when the 18 plus panels would begin, which personally I'm a huge fan of the 18 plus panels, because where else am I gonna watch hentai with a bunch of strangers at night? I mean, Anime Boston and AAC do that, of course, but like, it's hentai. Come on. I love the 18 plus panels. That's one. Alright, I'll be honest with you, when I was 17, I would take my mom's, at AAC, AAC had the parents pass, so my mom gave me her parents badge when I was 17, and I got into the 18 plus panels, so it's like, I've always loved the 18 plus panels, because they didn't check my ID, haha. But, yeah, so, with the Connecticut Convention Center closing at 9 o'clock, that prevents 18 plus panels from being held because they want to keep it all ages, so they can't have 18 plus panels during the day. That would be horrible. So instead, I got sidetracked. Yeah, so it was the rave. So the convention center would basically empty out. People would be over at the informal dance over at the Marriott, and that would be going until 2 in the morning. And years ago, when I was with my ex, I remember that we made a point to go to the informal dance at like 1 in the morning, hoping that the crowds would have died down and we would be able to just dance. It's not my thing though, but we wanted to check it out. But I know a lot of people, that's a big draw for them, because I was in the hallway when Anime Boston stopped doing the rave, and whew, that was a thing. I remember I was talking with Rafi. I'm going to tag you in this so you can see this comment. Haha. But yes, I know that the informal dance is a huge draw, but now they don't have the rave in the Marriott. Instead, they have it in the clubs out in Hartford, and they want you, the convention goer, to go out into Hartford to pay. I don't know if there was a cover charge going into the clubs. I guess your convention pass got you in, but I mean, part of the appeal for a dance at a convention is it's just nerds. It's you and fellow nerds dancing with fellow nerds. But out in the clubs in Hartford, there are Hartford people. You don't know who's out there. There are some sketchy people in the convention scenes, I know. But now, where the dance used to be in the Marriott is the tabletop gaming room. And so that's just it. It's either convival or tabletop gaming. After 9 o'clock, those are your own. Well, you could also just go back to your hotel. So either hotel, clubs, or tabletop gaming. Those are basically your only options. And I don't feel safe going into Hartford, and tabletop gamings do not appeal to me. I mean, unless they had, like, Clue. I like Clue. But that's basically it. Like, so why would you pay $80 for a convention that closes at 9 o'clock and then wants you to go out into Hartford, which, let's just take a moment to remember, Hartford is one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. It's not like Baltimore level, but it's still it's in the top 20 dangerous cities, I believe. And again, I'm a small white woman. I don't feel safe in the city. Like, look outside my window. I'm a small country mouse. I feel more comfortable in not city settings, so no, I will not go out into the city, but also I do not want to spend my night playing tabletop gaming. My phone's ringing, but I'm recording this video. And so that begs the question, why do we put up with this? Like, last year when the convention and the convention center closed at 9 o'clock, I was aware that that was going to happen. And again, Rick and I were prepared for this. But now, I'm going to stop right here, and I will pick up after my mom is done, and I will pick this up in the second video. Ta-ta.